The doctors said the millionaire's baby had died. In the sterile, cold silence of the VIP wing at St. Jude's Memorial, Arthur Sterling, a man who owned half the city's skyline, fell to his knees. His wife, Elena, was unconscious, still recovering from a traumatic labor, unaware that the nursery they had spent thousands to decorate would remain empty. The head of pediatrics, a man with 30 years of experience, placed a heavy hand on Arthur's shoulder and whispered the words that no amount of money could silence. "There is no heartbeat, Mr. Sterling. We've tried everything. I'm so sorry." As the medical team began to disconnect the monitors, the heavy double doors of the surgical wing swung open. Nobody noticed the boy at first. Malik was 17, wearing a faded high school hoodie and carrying a plastic bucket and a mop. He was a part-time janitor, a kid from the bottoms, the part of the city Arthur Sterling only saw through the tinted glass of his limousine. Malik was supposed to be cleaning the hallway floors, but something had pulled him toward room 402. He had heard the weeping, but more than that, he felt a strange, vibrating pressure in his chest that he couldn't explain. The doctors moved to cover the tiny, still body of the infant. The atmosphere was thick with the finality of death. But Malik didn't keep walking. He dropped his mop, the metallic clang echoing through the silent room, drawing the sharp, annoyed glares of the elite medical staff. "Hey! You can't be in here," a nurse hissed, her eyes red from her own tears. Arthur Sterling didn't even look up. He was a broken man, staring at the floor. Malik didn't leave. He walked straight to the bassinet. There was an intensity in his eyes that stopped the security guard at the door from grabbing him. It wasn't defiance. It was a desperate, quiet certainty. Malik looked at the pale, blue-tinted face of the millionaire's son. He thought of his own mother, who had spent her last breath praying for him in a cramped apartment with no heat. He remembered the warmth of her hand before she passed, and the way she told him, "Malik, you have a light in you that the world will try to blow out. Don't let them." Without a word, Malik reached into the bassinet. The doctors gasped, stepping forward to intervene, but Arthur Sterling suddenly raised his hand, signaling them to stop. Arthur didn't know why, but when he looked at Malik, he didn't see a janitor. He saw a soul that seemed to be vibrating with a frequency he had never encountered in boardrooms or galas. Malik placed his large, calloused, dark hand gently over the baby's tiny chest. He closed his eyes and began to hum, a low, rhythmic melody that sounded like a heartbeat, a song passed down through generations of struggle and survival. Seconds turned into minutes. The head doctor checked his watch, ready to call security, his face a mask of professional indignation. "This is highly irregular, Mr. Sterling, we must," but he was cut off by a sound that shouldn't have been possible. A soft, wet gasp. Then, a tiny, rhythmic thump that Malik felt against his palm before the monitors even registered it. The flat line on the EKG suddenly spiked. A jagged green mountain appeared on the screen, followed by another and another. The baby's skin began to flush with a faint, miraculous pink. The room exploded into a controlled chaos of medical disbelief. The doctors rushed in, pushing Malik aside. They checked the vitals, their hands shaking. "It's a pulse," the lead surgeon whispered, his voice cracking. "It's a strong, steady pulse. I don't have a medical explanation for this." Amidst the shouting and the rush of nurses, Malik quietly picked up his mop. He didn't ask for a reward. He didn't wait for a "thank you." He slipped out of the room, his shoulders hunched, returning to the shadows of the hallway to finish his shift at In the weeks that followed, the story of the miracle in room 402 became a legend within the hospital, but Arthur Sterling couldn't let it go. He was a man who believed everything had a price, but he couldn't figure out the price of a soul. He used his vast resources to find the boy. He found Malik living in a rundown tenement, caring for his younger sister, studying for his exams by the light of a single flickering lamp. When Arthur offered him a check for $1 million, Malik looked at the paper and then back at the man who had everything. "I didn't do it for the money, Mr. Sterling," Malik said softly. "I did it because your son's light was going out, and I had a little bit of mine to spare." Malik refused the cash, but he did accept one thing, a scholarship to medical school. He didn't want to be a millionaire, he wanted to be the man who understood the rhythm of life that science sometimes forgets. Years later, a new wing was opened at the hospital, the Malik Foundation for Pediatric Care. On the day of the ribbon cutting, a young man walked up to the podium. It was the millionaire's son, now healthy and vibrant, standing next to Dr. Malik, the man who had been a poor black boy with a mop and a miracle. The story serves as a timeless reminder that the greatest riches aren't found in bank accounts, but in the willingness to reach out a hand when the rest of the world has given up. It tells us that no matter your status, your race, or your bank balance, we all beat with the same heart, and sometimes, the person the world overlooks is the only one who can save it. Message: never judge a person by the clothes they wear or the job they do. The universe often hides its greatest miracles in the humblest places. When the world says, "It's over," faith and human connection say, "Watch this." Your light is never too small to ignite a guttering flame in someone else.